Horsemanship Remarks Show.
I'm Emma Daly Klein,
And I'm Michael Sparling.
and we are freezing our asses off here in the Willamette Valley of Oregon, but it's only like 22 degrees. Michael, say how cold that is there.
Yeah, St. Croix Valley of Wisconsin is currently, feels like temperature is -7. It's actually, I think, 5 degrees now, but tonight we'll be down to -27 with wind, so who knows what wind chill will be with the actual temperature is -27. So it's going to be bitter tonight.
I did not even know that you got -27. That's freaking cold, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna be brutal. We're actually we're actually going to a Timberwolves game tonight with the kids. Like, this is gonna be a bitter drive. Hopefully the car functions when we go to start it up in Minneapolis at whatever time.
Yeah,
9:30 probably, 10.
nobody would do anything here. Like everything grinds to a stop here if it's like 5, 10 degrees. It's like everyone's like, forget it.
Yeah.
-27. Geez. Julie, good morning. I was trying to do a little story for the gang at Instagram just so that people would remember, but
Didn't get her done.
well, not quite. I tried, but then we were
Did
late.
you this is par for the course for so much of the well, most of the social media world outside of the consumers, but the creators, I was so proud of my little schedule post because you appreciate the music.
Oh, I never listened. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. A lot of times I watch stuff like that without music.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was good.
Post
It was
music?
good.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I was
Hmm.
impressed with how easy it was. It didn't used to be that easy. It's been a while since I posted anything.
Things are definitely easier than they were. Corey, good morning.
Are you still listening to Stephen Wilson Jr. or was it just that Stand By Me, the song you sent me like in November?
That's yeah, that's the only one.
You gotta listen to the whole album.
Really? Okay.
So good.
I
Every freaking song. I've listened to it nonstop, and no joke, since you sent that to me. Like it is on repeat. Driving. Thankfully, Lydia enjoys the whole album, will request specific songs. I think we're driving Emily nuts. I've started trying to carefully not play it when she's around because she likes it, but I have maybe an addictive personality or something because
maybe.
I've, I've listened to it nonstop, and still, even still, every song is just like, damn, it's good.
I will definitely have to. I spool up the music right about February, but it's hard because I get those worms in my ear and like I can't sleep, and
Yeah,
it's a bad thing. So, Sarah,
it
good
doesn't
morning.
affect my sleep, but I definitely wake up, and this is pretty well all the time. It doesn't matter if it's a major earworm that I'm really stuck to. I wake up with some song, lyric, something every morning immediately rolling in my head, and gotta click it on, gotta listen.
Oh, it's funny to me that that's soothing to you, but yeah, I
Well, I don't
I
know if it's soothing, it's maybe energizing.
yeah, there's
Th-
nothing wrong with that.
Thankfully, we have streaming. I can listen to whatever, whenever. That I I
Michael and I remember when we had to steal it off of
yeah,
Napster. Was it? I can Napster. I
yeah.
don't even remember. Yeah, Patches is my favorite. Oh, is that one? Okay, you guys, real quick, tell people which. So I kicked this off because I saw the song. Well, you say, but then I was like stunned. But it was the one that it's that one guitar string that I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
So it's Stephen Wilson Jr. Um, he's been around for a while. Actually, a friend of mine um, sent me one of a cover that he did of It's a song called Hunger Strike. It sounds a little bit like Pearl Jam, but it's not. I can't remember who the original artist was. He sent it to me, and I'm like, I've been listening to him nonstop, hadn't heard that song yet. He's like, yeah, I came across this a year or two ago. I'm like, a year or two ago? Like, why did you not tell me? So, anyways, not a new artist, but and even this album isn't new. But Emma sent the song "Stand by Me," and it was a live version. I think live from the print shop. Just friggin' guitar is amazing.
Oh,
But then the whole album is called "Son of Dad," and I can't get enough of it. I sent it to Katie. She's apparently enjoying it. I've told numerous people who I've told about, you are not enjoying it enough. Like I am enjoying it way more than you, so it is not enjoyable to talk with you about it because your enjoyment does not match mine. So
that's funny. Good morning, Timmy. Do we know you in real life? Diane. Good morning. Wake up a song in your head. Yeah, that I could live with. It's when it's in my dreams, then I'm just
yeah,
like, "Oh, come on, that's too much."
not usually in my
I
dreams.
also had people be like, "Oh yeah, I saw that a year ago." I'm like, you know what? You
Thanks
were
for
hit.
telling me.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for telling me. So, you guys, real quick before I ask Michael what's on his mind. So, first of all, if you want to talk about the four-quarter yield, Michael, I'm totally down with that. Because I can't quite come up with why. Did you watch the reel I sent you? We don't need to talk about the specific
You did
reel.
not send me a reel.
Yes, I did, but that's okay.
Well,
I
it
can.
didn't come through. All I got was your audio message.
Yeah, well, it would have been on Instagram. Anyway, so basically, there's a way of
Oh,
teaching.
sent it on Instagram. Sure.
There's a way of teaching a four-quarter yield that Buck kind of switched to in the last few years, and I haven't switched to, and I don't know why. And my friends know why, I'm sure. But every time I come up against like choosing, I choose not to do it that way. So I'm kind of interested in that. Also, I was thinking
So,
to my
question on that, since you won't forget your thought, and I will. Um, do you think, or have you talked about, does he teach it that way for the person or for the horse? I think it's for the person.
it
You
is
know,
for the person,
I
I
mean,
would
I don't.
imagine.
That's not how he presents it to a horse, to my knowledge. I mean, I haven't
Point. That's a
since
good point.
since he's been explaining it that way, which we should explain what that way is. But since he's been explaining it that way, I have not seen him start anything. But I mean, it's I wouldn't. I just can't imagine he does the hindquarters, forequarters just in the flow of the movement, and then gets his flag down and supports with that. So it's not broken down as much. I don't know. I think it depends on where you're starting with someone. Um, I think it can help to break down the movement. So,
Keep one.
what? Okay, you're gonna leave. Okay, so explaining what we mean, I'm 98% sure I know what Emma is referencing. We're
Now,
usually kind of mind melding a little bit. Um, Buck has started explaining the four-quarter yield by having folks put the lateral flexion in, the inside rein, engage the outside rein to rock the weight back, and then once the weight rocks back, lead the front end through to a reach out and back. Um, as opposed to sliding right into position two, hand position two, and either out of a static reach or from a hindquarter yield, just bringing the front end across as kind of one motion rather than breaking it down into flexion, rock weight back, now send the foot. So, um, when, you know, say it's kind of almost more an intro clinic, folks are getting going on a hindquarter yield that's more balanced, that's more sophisticated. They're feeling down the rein as opposed to just not really paying too much attention to what they're doing. Still work to be done there, but want to kind of give them some homework, introduce them to kind of a little bit more of the whole breadth of the curriculum. I will start in on a four quarter yield, or I try to start in on a four quarter yield in the context of an intro clinic, because oftentimes there's also some folks that are working on it, not intro. Any case, I told you I didn't have anything to say, and then I say, get me started and I'll ramble. Um, I do find that without the support of the horse and me, like certainly specifying to the person, you have to feel them rock the weight back first. You can't just draw that rein and then, even if you put float in it, if the horse isn't got the idea of coming back, which they may have a start from doing hindquarters, forequarters on the ground, but they may also not quite be there. So I would say starting someone out from scratch, it's very helpful to break it down, slow it down, make sure the person is kind of learning to feel okay there, the weight went back, maybe we're capable now of reaching the front foot. There you go. That was me explaining the difference
Yeah.
between the way you did it. What are your thoughts? I know you've said that before, but I don't think we've talked about it at length. Why you kind of are reticent to break it
And
down that way?
they are uncomfortable talking about it, especially publicly, just because I mean, buck is buck.
Yeah.
y- And it's like, how dare I question the way especially publicly.
But I mean, I I just specified that, like, if you're breaking it down for the person, starting from square one or square four, whatever square you want to say you're starting from, I think it is helpful. Also, Buck does not break it down to that degree when he's starting a horse, because it can flow together more than that if you're capable of presenting it to the horse that way. Would he insist on everyone presenting it that way the first time? I don't think so. So I don't know that it's publicly we're having this
Well, let me
great
just
disagreement with the way Buck would explain it.
I sort of am. The reason I bring it up,
Okay.
the reason I
Well,
bring it
then
up
there you go, Buck.
is because, yeah, don't tell him,
Oh, no.
people. But okay, so Buck knows. Here's my thing. The reason I brought it up to Michael and I also asked Nathan is because I I can't quite put my finger on why. When even I'm teaching somebody that doesn't know it, I don't want to do it that way. Like, so Michelle, are you here this morning? Good morning, Lisa, by the way, if I didn't say that already. Michelle's here. She has a big giant horse. You guys know her from the Heart and Soul, which by the way is coming up next month, you guys. I think it's on the 10th of February, so mark it. Um, she's a big, giant, glorious horse who is just going to be amazing. She's got so much going on, but I could easily tell her to turn your horse to 90 degrees and
Mm.
and pull him backwards and then reach a front foot. Like, but I would never say
Well,
that to her.
pull is not
Oh,
pull is
parents, like,
not the most generous word. I don't tell anyone to pull their horse backward either. If you got a feel going in your backup, it's like,
well, so that
which
would
is
be the
always a question mark when you're starting someone out from zero.
yeah. It's just when the way remember like backing a circle, backing an arc, and then rolling the front quarters across is I totally do it that way. And that's certainly how I do it on the ground. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of a way to do it. And I
Yep.
learned that from Buck. uh, partially. And I also learned it from my off the track thoroughbred Lil, partially. Because if you guys don't haven't heard the story, one day after riding with Buck for many years, I was like, okay, we are going to figure this out, horsey, you and me. And I ran the camera and I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I figured it out. But, since then, so backing a circle makes sense, or backing an arc, especially on the ground, back an arc, swing a foot, back an arc, swing a foot. That's like, because the inside hind leg has to
It's
be,
just slide.
yeah, it has to slide. But Michael, I think partially because I just keep thinking of the difference between doing it that way. And I guess I haven't really heard Buck say it lately, but there are a few people that I've seen copying Buck's teaching where it's like, honestly, turn the horse to 90 and they're totally demonstrating pulling the horse backwards while the head is at 90 degrees, which to me is a broken arc, which I would never want. Not fucking ever. Okay. But what do I know? I'm just, you guys give me some latitude to like think this out, because then I was thinking the difference between that and what we were doing with Rooster last year, or whenever I was there last July, right? Like releasing when it's about to happen. The horse needs to follow the inside rein. Um, but the things that I guess, maybe if I could frame it in a positive way, I would say, when I learned the backing circle from Buck, which is who I learned it from, it changed my life, because you can show a horse ultimate collection methodically, slowly, on a float, where the horse can do it for themselves. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Um, and so it's I literally, I don't even know how I would create the kind of dressage horse that I want, without that. So, backing a circle, if you're listening to this and don't, or four-quarter yield, if you're listening to this and don't know, picture your horse on a gentle right-handed arc, and the horse is pivoting around the left hind leg. So the left hind leg is going to sit, sit, sit. The right hind leg is going to slide back and around the left hind leg. The inside front foot, which would be the right front foot, is going to reach back to accommodate a very, very small arc. And the outside front foot, which is the left front foot in that scenario, is going to reach across the inside front foot. Basically, you're on a teeny
Cross
tiny.
over the top in
Yeah,
front of.
I heard that Amy Skinner, who I don't follow, but I know other people do, she like renamed it the reverse pirouette. Not a horrible way to describe it. I mean, it's not quite in my mind. But it's not a horrible. What I like about that idea, and I haven't heard it from her, so forgive me if I'm not right. But the what I like about that is the idea that it would be a tiny, tiny arc like that, where the four quarters are going more, right? And I would imagine the backwards part of that is the inside hind leg sliding. uh, You
Mhm.
know. But anyways, but here's the
The
thing.
reverse part.
Yeah, that's the reverse part. Backing circle is pretty amazing. Yeah, backing an arc for sure. I remember sitting on Easy the Mustang, at Corvallis the year that I was first able to do that. Wasn't about clinic. But Michael, here's the thing is like, I really, how can I say this in a positive way? I hate breaking the united arc by pulling the horse's head, or even just whatever, you could do it on a float, but the horse's head coming to 90 degrees when the horse, from the withers to the dock of the tail, is at a different arc. You guys
Mhm.
follow me? So if there's an arc, a united arc from the dock of the tail to the withers, and that's at a certain like curve, let's say. Well, then the last thing I want is for the head to be at 90. Yuck. 'Cause then you don't have a united arc. And if you want a really tiny pirouette, 4/4 yield, you cannot have the horse overbent like that. And I think the idea maybe is you get it started, but it really is just a roll of the jaw. And here's the thing, the 4/4 yield is the same angle as an excellent leg yield, as an excellent canter pirouette, as an excellent um, half pass, uh, as an excellent volte. Like the curve is the same. So you might as
And
well.
let's just say extremely minimal. If you're saying it's the same, it's pretty minimal. Like literally the same.
Hi,
Horse is
Louise.
pretty. I don't know how you define it unless you have a protractor or something, or I don't know. Um, I guess I only say that because when you're coming out of a hindquarter yield, the horse does start in a fairly deep bend,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're,
Yep.
um, if you're kind of messing with lateral flexion just at a standstill, making sure the horse can do that, turn loose without wiggling around. If you're going and playing with a fourth method of moving the hindquarters at a walk and it's just not coming through, you are going to turn it into a hindquarter yield, perhaps, and that bend goes to 90 degrees. And then if you go to bring the front end through, if you're saying, which
But
end result, it is very minimal and akin to, if not the same as, all those other movements. How much
yep.
are you letting out that flexion for it to be congruent into a four-quarter yield? Does it change, or do you
It definitely changes. Yes. And
development wise beginning to more finished?
yeah, I would say it absolutely has to because the horse has to accommodate an angle like this.
Are you saying from the hindquarter to the forequarter, or through the development of the horse, the forequarter yield, the depth of bend changes
But
as
see,
then?
yeah,
I'm
it's
just
just
asking you to clarify which one you mean.
I know. I guess in my dream scenario, like when it's working, which is very important to think of, like, okay, if this is gonna, if the signal is gonna go through the whole body, even on a hindquarter yield, it's late if the head comes to 90, if the head and the neck come to 90 degrees. Then the lumbar is not rotating in time. Because if the inside hind leg goes across in time, you do not have the head bent to 90 degrees.
Well,
I mean, you
well,
guys can
there
get crucified for
one
even
yeah,
trying to.
one thing that I have has stood out to me numerous points, particularly, like, take one example last year at the Colt Start. I think it was Hattie's horse. Sorry if I'm not sure which of the two girls it was, but um pretty touchy. Buck took a hold of it, worked that horse, and I mean, Hattie reached down the rein and there was no thought for that horse not for it to go through the whole body. I mean, Buck had the groundwork so pure, it didn't really matter who got on it. Those first few times before they schmucked it up, they could have been as crude as they wanted to. And as they went down that rein, that horse, as troubled as it had been, would have gone right through their body. And um, that, I mean, you could watch it frame by frame and evaluate, which I didn't. I was seeing it in person, um, and evaluate frame by frame how much flexion there is before the hind leg goes, and basically the whole body arranged itself the moment hand started going down the rein, right? It was that much fourth method of moving the hindquarters in beautiful action. So though the flexion, and I think she actually drew this colt around to probably more than 90 degrees by the time she softened, or the horse found a kind of an end to the movement and was still able to have float, if that's a fair way to say it. But like, there was no disconnect. Watching Buck ride, I don't remember, Billy Bob, probably Billy Bob. I'm remembering back to Beef. It can almost look, particularly starting out, the the flexion comes so deep through the neck that it almost looks like it's disconnected from the hind leg. It's not, but there's something there where it's like,
Only thing is, I think that
no,
if you were to compare the rotation
well, we're
uh,
also, yeah, go ahead.
of the lower back,
Mm-hmm.
right, with the withers forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, either it's united or it's not. That's that's and we should just say that the fourth method of yielding the hindquarters is reins only.
Yeah. So
But
I think I've said before, it looks like a wave going through the horse. So, like, is there, like, I don't know, I can start to bend this way and then it eventually gets through your body. Like, when a horse takes their eyes to the right, it doesn't necessarily mean their lumbar has yet changed.
Mhm.
Like, they can
That's
create
right.
that like it's just whether or not, as that flexion takes place, is there a spot where it stops coming through the body? Maybe that's what's happening, that
Well, that's the part he's trying to get out. Is
where
when
it
the weight.
stops, yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. But it does look like, I mean, if you send a wave down a chain or a rope, you know
Hmm.
this
Yep.
is, chain has weight on the other end depending on the length of the chain or whatever. But when you send that wave, first thing that does, the chain has to, or the rope has to pull toward you somewhat, or you have to move toward it to create that curve. But it curves here, and then it works its way down the rope, that arc
Yep.
forms itself. So it almost looks like, to me, a delay, but it's not a delay in the sense that there's a stop in the middle or a hitch in there. It's just, um
Yeah, agreed.
like, it just looks like a wave that rolls through the whole horse.
Mhm,
By golly, though, it's a very deep bend. By
mhm.
golly, why did I just say by golly? It's a very deep bend. Um
You're trying
as it
not to.
gets there. I'm not trying to not to know. That wasn't like grounds for throwing something artful in there. That was just me growing up in North Dakota and coming up with some phrase that I heard growing up. Anyway,
It's a
but
deep
much
bend.
deeper than the bend you would
That's
be
true.
expecting shortly thereafter. I mean, you see,
That's right.
I don't know.
That's, but it's in motion. Is
Uh-huh.
the, but then
Yeah.
on the other hand, you think about method 4.1, where you're saying, okay, well, I do
Hmm.
need you to come to 90 and stay. But right away, when you're asking the feet to move, you are not
You're
going
not
to,
wanting to stay.
yeah, you don't. And I think part of it is like if we think about the 4/4 yield with a horse disunited like that, there's until the horse comes unlocked, all four, and not unlocked with the hindquarter, that's not the right way to say it, but freeze up all 4 feet. When you pull it backwards, the feet are just not arranged. Like, because you're sort of just pulling the outside straight back. And that's just not how it works because the outside hind leg has to stay still.
Well, okay, so I was thinking as you were taking umbrage with this, in a static reach, should the inside hind slide back first without the outside front sliding back with it because the turn starts at the reach? But does the inside hind slide back or does the inside front reach? Then the inside hind slides back as the outside front comes over the top. It starts at the reach, right?
It,
So
dep- yeah,
if
but you go
I think,
ahead.
well, I think potentially what maybe this is it. Hopefully I got it right and you'll be like, that's it. Uh Potentially, is it that you have said to the horse in this case, lateral flexion, that's it. That's all I want. Therefore, it may not be through the whole horse because it is started with just stay put, bend around, and then coming in and saying, "Oh, but wait, I do need it to go through the whole horse." But they've just set themselves up without having it necessarily go through the whole horse because you just at a standstill. It's not 4.1. It's not um, like I just described. Buck having worked this cult of Hattie's. Like, is that it? You're not going. That's it. So I
Well,
must not
not,
be
I just
caught up.
am not sure what you're saying though, real quick.
Okay, so if you're going with like a static reach, the horse already knows it, or the rein is really connected to the foot, and the horse knows to bring the whole horse to follow that rein with the whole horse, right? You pick up that rein, and you know, kind of like not 4.1 of the hindquarters, but there's no like question whether that rein is moving a foot, right? Boom, there it is. It's moving the foot. If, however, you start with no life in me, not thinking about a foot, the feel down the rein isn't communicating to a foot, let's go. Let's get our lateral flexion here, but we're staying still with our feet. It's not going through the whole body to the point of influencing the inside hind leg, right? Or moving that inside front foot, we could say, which would be the first step in a 4/4 yield. So we've just communicated to the horse 4/4, or I mean lateral flexion, boom, that's all I need. Oh, but wait, Now that we have just this flexion with nothing necessarily going through to the feet and the rest of the body, oh, but now I want you to rock back. That's the disconnect that you're kind of um, reacting to or disliking, correct?
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to.
I must not be saying anything clear here or something. I don't know.
Well, I guess let me say this. So when we say that, yeah, but now I want you to do this, it's like, well, it shouldn't really be a yeah, but, because if you're asking the horse for neutral lateral flexion,
Mm-hmm.
where the horse is standing there still, the feet are not moving, then
Yeah.
you have no life in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the horse to turn loose to the rein one
Mm-hmm.
time, right? This is we're talking about neutral lateral flexion, not not like a standing soft feel. The point, in my view, would be to that the horse turns loose to the rein. So the feel of the bit on their tongue, let's just say, it should go through the horse's neck, should cause the inside feet to get lighter, should turn them loose through their belly, or, through their rib cage. So there's a whole bunch of things. It's basically, I mean, as far as I can tell, a turning loose, right? And the value of having the horse come to 90 degrees there is really, in my mind, it's how loose is are the muscles. Like, you're really testing how much that you can have the inside turn loose, become flaccid, so that there's a major contraction on the inside of the horse's neck. The outside has to be loose enough. So you're testing, like, how long are these muscles? How loose are these muscles? Okay, that's, in my view, that's the point, which is why we don't just start with pulling the horse's head to 90 if it's just going to cause their head to tip and the outside
Mm-hmm.
ear to point down. This is point, so we do it little bit at a time, but it should test the the looseness of the horse. Let me just help our situation here, you guys, so we're not distracted here. Uh, let's just see if I can do that.
Okay,
Okay.
so
So, but here's the thing. Then, as soon as you have life in your body, whether this could be the 4.1 or a a static reach, as soon
mm-hmm.
as you have life in your body, now the brain is saying, okay, you're hooked to a foot. I'm going to move your foot,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we could just stop there. I would also, because then I want to hear what you have to say about
Well,
that.
I guess so. If that's the case, you go from that no life in your body. It's they're just feeling that and preparing, similar to how they do. You pick up a soft feel, no life in your body yet, but you'd like it to go through the whole horse in a preparation. We're not moving feet yet, but let's stay on the lateral flexion. There, we're prepared, but we're not talking to the feet yet. There is no life in our body directing somewhere. For the feet to move would be getting out of the sink, the horse leaving the rectangle, the horse assuming or getting ahead of you. You don't want that, right? So you start from that point. But if the horse is turned loose, let's say you are turning it into a static reach, the foot just goes as soon as you bring. So all you're saying is, I don't like having the rain be a part of that. I want it to all be afloat right away because you are still in your body going, now rock back in order to unweight that foot entirely and move it in this trajectory.
Okay, keep your
Open
thought.
and
Let me just add a few things,
okay.
because sort of, but so right away, here's the thing. When you ask the foot to move, that flexion will change. The amount of flexion will go from 90 degrees to 40, 35. something like that. Well, and it's in direct proportion to how far the inside front foot reaches.
Mhm.
I would never want the horse, never, you guys. I would, in the ideal scenario, I would not want the horse to reach the inside front foot at all if the inside hind leg is in the way. So, what I would do, depending on how the horse is arranged to begin with, it might be that the inside hind leg has to slide first. And I might release the rein even if the inside front foot doesn't go. Why would that be? And you know the answer, Michael. But it's because it crossed their mind. So what we want is the mind to be connected to the rein. We don't really
Mhm.
about the foot. The foot will come. Okay. So but because the idea is still that the horse knows it's the inside front foot that's going to reach.
Mhm.
So as the inside front foot reaches, it will take as much of the lateral flexion out of the bend as it moves. While we wouldn't want to keep the horse bent to 90 as the inside front foot is moving, right?
Mhm.
Is Corey here? Corey, you're here this morning, right? Like, so I was
I
running.
don't think that's stated clearly enough,
Okay.
typically. Just quietly say that way. Um,
But Corey, okay, so I was writing novella at Corey's the other day, and when novella does a four-chord yield to the degree that she can, my tiny little lip is on. Imagine that. She's so tiny. Like she gets so little. She goes from
yeah.
8 feet to like 4 feet. It's tiny. When you could be like, well,
It is pretty wild how much they'll
the compression, but
yeah,
it's
the compression because the horse is the same amount of mass, but they are yes, I guess we you have to consider the compression because it's like you have all this length, like you said, let's say 8 to 4. That seems a little bit
I'm
extreme. Okay, whatever. She's
well, she's
well,
very
I haven't
experienced.
seen how tiny she actually is, or I'm remembering. She is small. She's a little bitty thing.
A Lavad horse. Think about it. Like she's bred to Lavad,
Yeah,
so she's bred to get the angle of her front feet to her hind feet is bred to get like this.
yeah.
So okay, how much distance is it going to be from here to here?
Well,
Where it'd be like,
that's what's interesting though, because of the compression. You could say, well, we go from 8 feet to 4 feet in length, but that doesn't change the height in the
uh,
same ratio, because of
uh,
the compression. It's not like, well, we had 8 feet down to 4 feet. Well, that made our, however high the horse is, 4.5, 5 feet, little tiny thing. Now she's by the
six.
same ratio, 7 to 8 feet tall, because it all like
But
there's certainly a lifting, but
yeah,
it's the compression that I mean,
it's so
and
cool.
that you can package them in. Like if you just picture like a vacuum seal thing, but it compresses front to back more than it does other directions. Or you like just putting them in a smaller box? Like the other day, I was describing that horse blanket that came that was just crammed into this little box. Well, they're obviously not. We're not cramming anything in, or it's not going to have the picture we're after. But picture putting your horse in a box that is significantly shorter front to back than your horse is, and uh, the
Uh,
degree to which you can shrink that length into something so much shorter is kind of incredible.
it's amazing. But let's use a better metaphor.
Well, okay, so the picture well, this is
Well, let's
bad. A
use.
kid getting shoved in a locker, or like a kid crawling into a little So Levi and his friend the other day were talking about going to middle school yet next year, and they're talking about, they don't want to get crammed in a locker. And Levi's friend is this scrawny little guy, and Levi's pretty stout, and Levi said, "I don't think I need to worry about that. I don't know if I'd fit in a locker." Uh, anyway, but like picture a little kid rolling up and fitting in a box. Like they're so flexible. Like you're like, no way that little bugger can fit in that tiny little box that just came in the mail. And they open the cardboard box and they disappear inside of it. Hide and seek. Where'd Lydia go?
Okay, so
I don't know where she is. Okay, so we're far afield. Now I'm
no,
picturing
you're not, but listen to mine.
let's okay, we're getting out of the box now. Go
Just
ahead.
listen to the difference. Okay, I'm imagining I'm imagining like a flower
Oh,
with
okay, there we go.
a bumblebee of
How am I
energy,
doing on analogies today, Corey?
and then it goes like this, right? But it's also very easy for it to go. So the juxtaposition of that with the kid
Well,
gets
okay, but your flower starts like this and then goes to this, unless it's like a Venus flytrap. Is it going back in?
well, some really curl up at night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes me so happy. Sorry for being loud, you guys. Um, okay, but the point
Their
is that
their locker conversation was pretty classic.
yeah, oh, I bet. I bet.
I wish I'd written it down.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so but the point is the same. The analogies are different, but the point is the same.
Corey said,
Entertainment,
"My grade in analogies is lower, but my entertainment factor is high." Well, thank you. You're welcome.
and I will trade entertainment for value of the metaphor all day long.
We'll let Emma do the metaphor. I'll
Well,
keep
but
going with the
we can use your metaphor in the sense that is it happening gently or is it being forced?
yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a perfect metaphor for that. Because generally people don't want to end up stuffed in a locker. But
Or picture some adult in a proportionally sized box to the one Lydia just crawled into. Okay, get the ratios the same. Now try to put an adult in there that is not a yogi, and there's like just no freaking way their body is going to curl up that small.
you have to
You
cut
know,
limbs off.
I don't know. That still doesn't make the back curl that much more. I don't know. My back is
Just
awfully
wrap
stiff right
up.
now.
I don't know. Put them through a meat grinder. I have no idea.
There you go. Same amount of mass. That's the thing that just kind of amazes me is how different the horse can look with the same amount of mass.
Agree.
They
Agree.
weigh the same thing, molecules, everything is still taking up the same amount of space, but where that all those molecules, all that mass is in space is so remarkably different.
That's why the rectangle has to be dynamic, right? We have to think about for those of you guys that are horsemanship insiders and saw the horsemanship insider dispatch with my um graphic of the rectangle. I think it's so funny because it's obviously not a rectangle at all. I'm like, this looks like a rectangle, right? Yeah, for sure, Michael. All of what you're saying. So we have to think. I guess this is part of it. It's like if we set angles and then like just want to smash the horse and then you're like no but that's the in the dream scenario the ratios of movement ideally don't become disconnected. Like if you're going to end up with more flexion here, you're going to end up with more flexion somewhere else. That's the dream. Otherwise,
Mhm.
your body parts are just kind of disconnected.
Yeah, and then it's setting it up and waiting for the horse to find their way into
Yes.
something they have not, maybe outside of meeting some new horse and getting all blustery and showing off their stature, not generally how they walk around or interact on a day-to-day basis is
So
that
hard. Yeah.
compressed.
Mhm.
Oh my
And
gosh. I wish I had it on video. It was freaking insane. Steph was working Rosa in the round corral the other day, and I mean, it is so incredibly icy here. It's awful. So all the horses, they come in and they're just glad they can move their bodies. So she's moving around the round corral, kind of a spitfire. She turned and went the wrong way, and so Steph went and kind of cut her off and said, "No, we're going left." There was dirt on her, like sand on her belly after
'cause she got low.
she got that low. I mean, like her leg, we're talking about compression. Her legs must have been curled up like they are when a horse lays down on their stomach. And
Wow.
it was incredible. I- yeah,
That's
I
why
mean,
that
if you're riding, your feet would have been touching the ground, right? Because she's not a super big mare. It was insane. Absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever, I mean, I've seen obviously, you know, top cutting horses like really low and really spread out, but this was all 4 feet compressed enough that her underside, not just her chest, like her belly was on the ground as she made this turn. It was insane. And then literally Stephanie's like petting her afterward, and there is sand on her underside, and she had not rolled. So it was wild. Anyway, I don't know what were you about to say when that thought crossed my mind?
well, I don't remember.
Compression and yeah,
Well,
mass.
oh, I know what I was gonna say is that's why letting the horse do it is so important.
Mhm.
Uh, um, and this sounds super preachy. It's not like I can do this all the time, but it absolutely is the focus when I ride. Oh, okay. So these relate, but just taming Flower, continuing to tame Flower, and kind of forcing some ideas on her a little bit. Be like, look, I promise you, like, try a little harder here. So even when I am pushing her to make a different decision, I still have to flip back into not taking that decision away. Okay, so I've just been thinking about that as I'm, because it's more insistence than I'm used to having to apply, right? But let's go back to our four-quarter yield and our static reaches and all of that, because when it's working, the horse will arrange himself. So back to Rooster, you remember that? It's like, I mean, just imagine the feeling, Michael. And this is Michael's big. He must be 16 ish, right? Maybe even more than that. Well,
No,
he's plenty.
yeah,
Not
he's not over 16 too.
okay. Well,
I would
16
say
one.
I'd say that's right about where he is, but he's not more.
Okay, so he's this big bay off the track thoroughbred and long. I mean, Michael, you talk about a horse that can lengthen and shorten. Remember that when we were feeling for his entire range of motion? Like you used all of your reins plus had your hand forward. Okay. So if you had, before he was freed up on all 4 feet, if you had bent him to 90 and then pulled the reins backward, I mean, I don't. This doesn't seem right. You'd be bracing up the whole outside of the horse. I guess that's part of my problem.
Well, you'd be leaving the whole outside behind and not able to even really
It's,
effectively make the turn.
and then you're kind
And
of like,
yet, and yet, if in that moment they're not understanding to come back. So yes, last night it was a crappy evening. I had something freeze and I was just planning to ride. Lydia was had a lesson and was just gonna dink around while they were riding. or while they were doing a lesson, and there's a tank frozen, and it just, ugh, it's gonna get colder tonight. I don't want to deal with this crap. But so I get my horse out, and Lydia had just been. Stephanie was the cow, and Lydia was learning to hindquarters, forequarter yield, trot up, or not hindquarters, forequarters, rock back, forequarter yield, trot up, stop the cow, and, Stephanie was on another horse. So Lydia wanted to teach me this. When I finally got on my horse, her lesson was basically wrapping up. And so I like literally just got on Rooster, and now we are trotting off because she's behind, and then she's got to get up past us. And so Brody's trotting up behind us, and Rooster's like, let's go. So, I mean, certainly had to do some. The rectangle is not going that far,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And certainly because there was so much forward thinking in him until he said, "Oh, got the game. The game is get ready to get back and come across." I mean, I definitely was with my outside rein saying, "We're not swinging forward through this turn because you can make a fantastic, beautiful four-quarter yield, and we can even in a moment here speed that up relative to what we typically do for the game we're playing right now. But right now, you are so far off. I am going to, with my outside rein, not necessarily pull you through the turn, right? But not pulling with the inside rein or forcing with the outside rein. But if you're going to surge forward while we are supposed to be rocking back and turning, there is going to be a boundary there that will also be saying, rock back. Um, but to your point on the flexion, I you can't try to do that turning all off the inside rein and leave the outside of the horse behind if they're not following that inside rein and rocking back. So
Yeah.
I don't
Of
know.
course.
I guess there's another spot in which it's like, well, if they're not coming back, why are we saying we wouldn't use the outside rein? Because in that case, it's helping him stay lined up.
Yes. 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 If the horse is spilling out the front of the rectangle, then you'd be like, where are you going? There is no place
Hmm.
for you out there.
Yeah.
And if they're kind of trying, Michelle will remember she's working on it just right now. If they're kind of trying to follow, Corey and Whitney too, follow the inside rein, and you need to tuck them into the rectangle with the outside rein as a guide.
Hmm.
Yes, but that's not the same as, in my view, as pulling the feet backward with the reins at all. Because, and I suppose this is the part I can't figure out. Am I just holding on to the way that Buck taught us before? And the way that's
How
really
would you describe the way Buck taught us before? I mean, I know it wasn't broken down as much, but what
he
words would
put
you use to explain it?
reach and back and reach and back and reach and back, and then pretty soon reach and cross, reach and cross, reach and cross. Or you could do reach, cross, reach, back, reach, cross, reach, back. And the reason that's important to let the horse get, in my view, to make sure that the flexion comes to that 30-degree angle, let's somewhere, in there. And then if you need to, let them get all the way straight until all 4 feet free up. And then you can direct the feet. But just like pulling the whole rectangle backward in a shape that the horse doesn't seem to me. What do I know? I honestly have take it with a grain of salt, you guys.
She doesn't know much.
Well, I mean, no, who am I to question this method, right? I don't know. But I also, like Michael has said, have seen buck develop horses for many, many years. And I have taught a bazillion horses to do a four-quarter yield, but not as many as buck. I
Hmm.
don't know. He can call me and either scold me or be like, "It's okay." Um, and so, but here's the thing: pulling the whole rectangle backward.
I, is that? Mm, I just don't know that you're being generous to it, because is that what the intent is? That's why I thought I was onto something, and you didn't give it to me. When I was like, is it the change from it's not your body, oh, but now it is that?
Always your body, but there's a difference between starting from the idea that that all 4 feet are freed up, which they should be, and then
Yeah.
you have a way to direct each of the, especially the front feet, right? So reach and cross would be like, okay, well, I'm directing the angle of the reaching foot such that the outside front foot is going to cross over. Then I'm allowing the rectangle to go forward and around, because it has to go forward and around if it's a four-quarter yield. So if we're trying to manufacture the first step of a backing circle, and
Again,
then but see, why would you manufacture the first step of a backing circle with the head to 90? That's barfy, because it's disunited.
yeah. I mean, I get that part. I get that. Like,
And
why
Michelle, I will.
why 90? But I don't know that you have to say you're manufacturing. I don't know that it has to be a pull, right? So, hot if it's not 90, you bring them to 45, static, or I mean, neutral lateral flexion, but not to 90. Now, we're going to, they turn loose after a pause. And you go, okay, now we're going somewhere with this foot. If they don't match your body, if they're not immediately there, and you have to help with an outside rein, not pulling, not mashing. Isn't that what you do anywhere, anytime the horse needs support? You use the aids you've shown them?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I guess what I'm after is not putting them in a shape that they then have to accommodate the next movement in spite of the shape you have put them in. Corey, the new way Buck described it, I thought, was to roll the jaw first, then back a step or so, then cross. Well, right. So that would be then a backing circle, and it wouldn't be at 90 for sure. She's saying she doesn't remember the 90
Yeah.
degrees. And she said, and is Buck teaching that way to accommodate people whose horses are not backing and moving well yet? Yes, of course. Like, and he said that straight up. He's like, this
Yeah.
is a way you get the feeling of it.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's what I was just saying. If you let go of this feeling of 90 degrees,
I think at best, I
then
honestly think at best, though, it just gives the person a feeling of backing a circle. I don't know. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for just question, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. I'm just trying to think out, because so many times Buck will add something, or you'll see it ripple out to like tons of other people that are teaching it, trying to teach it exactly the way Buck is teaching it. And yeah, Corey, maybe, see, the thing is that if rolling the jaw and asking the horse to take a few steps backward is just simply backing a circle. And yes, that's exactly how Buck would show us how to do it. And if you have your horse following a rein forward, like an inside front foot forward and to the side, which is what, of course, he would have you doing in a 3-day clinic first. Then the idea being that you have the inside rein hooked to a foot. Then all you're doing is changing where that foot is going in space. If it's going forward and around, like in an open loop or a change of direction, or if it's going significant, like all you're doing is just changing where you can put the foot, the inside front foot, which is the point of the static reach, is like where can you put the foot, not whether or not the horse has to arrange. But pretty soon they're just going to kind of get organized, and
Mm,
then the rein will just be hooked to the foot.
mhm.
And then yes, if the horse is falling out the outside of the rectangle or completely going the wrong direction, then you'd be like, whoa, 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 where are you going? And if the horse completely misunderstands, then I guess the way that I would still want someone to do it, and Michelle, we were just working on this yesterday, let your horse get straight and help them roll on backwards, because her horse was getting just a little bit sticky in his feet. But I wouldn't have her continue to pull that horse backward at 90 degrees. Why would she ever do that? First of all, I don't have her at 90 degrees because that's not part of a forecourt. I mean, I might as well just jump off a cliff right now.
No, I mean, I think Corey's point is good as how much emphasis is there on 90 degrees because again, perhaps it could be said lateral flexion, but not so much. Maybe it
Yeah,
is explained
and
that way. That's what Corey's remembering.
yeah, and perhaps
I
it's
mean,
getting
does
lost.
how much does Buck talk about or use the term roll the jaw as kind of a component or a not a
He does
component like
really like that
I
way.
mean
He
he obviously does that and he says what does he say? It's not roll the jaw.
does not prefer that I say that to me. Because kind of like he says, you say that too much. And he also
Yeah.
says, put a bend in the hocks, but then it'll slip out of his mouth occasionally too. But I think it's just, but the description is just so you can see the eye, just so you know,
Yeah.
but it's like, yes, but what are you really doing? And then he'll get off his horse and show the horse rolling the jaw. And it's like, okay, let's connect the dots here, you guys, us as
Mm.
students, be like, all righty. So when we're sitting up there and we want the horse to turn, I don't know. The other thing, I guess, is the idea that if you're at a static reach and then you can kind of pull the horse backward. Maybe, and horses are amazing, so maybe they just generally figure it out. But and perhaps this is it too, Michael. Like, as if I have someone, for instance, Michelle, who right now is riding with me quite a bit, um, I have a vision for what she's going to be doing. Or I think about like when I was down with Nathan all the time. Side note, complete side note, Buck rode Nathan's horses last weekend at the Florida clinic. You've seen him ride Bozeman. Nathan was a little bit surprised with how little flexion um, Buck put into doing some groundwork with him. Because why? Because his lower back was freed up. Right. Anyway, that's a total side note. But it is interesting when we're like, okay, in the final analysis, if the wave is going through the body, you're not looking for the horse to come, so bent, disunited. Right. And that's hard to see. And sometimes it's hard to especially see if it's just the when the person like Buck is just rewarding the thoughts as you go along, then it's like, well, I don't see that happening. And he's like, you're overthinking it. Just do it how I do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, then
but
you're also up against how much really is, even though there is a visual component, how much when you're riding a horse, refining things, developing things to a much more compressed level, are you thinking about what it looks like as much as feeling for changes and feeling for what feels right? And I
And
think there's more of that going on than creating a shape, appearance, whatever. Um, that just shows up based on hunting this feeling of more engagement, more roundness, more turn loose, more compression.
yeah, more poofiness, because so back to Michelle, like I have this vision for what she's going to be able to do in what they are going to be able to do in 6 months, and keeping the culture correct. Don't I want her to help me, like if I got to decide as the coach, I want her to help him, but let him do it. Everything. Why wouldn't we? Why would we ever break that? Y- so help, but let him, even in the worst scenario, if the world was crashing down around her and she really had to help him, the second he comes to the middle or thinks about coming to the middle, the better off she's going to be to capture it. Don't worry about being perfect, but okay. And then so why would I have her disconnect any of those things? I want his neck to get big, and the muscles along his back to fill with blood, and like him to stay super floppy on his head, and for him, or, his head on his spine, and for him to have the time to think and to change his mind from going forward and out the outside of the rectangle to like let me sort myself out so I can go forward and around. It's like, and I have the luxury of not having to teach it all in 2 minutes, but I have at times taught this in small sections over years. So you guys, I
Mhm.
guess, can just tell me, would you have preferred that I taught you the other way? Julie says, I bet he says 90 because watching a million people do short serpentines without enough bend has taught Buck to give a bigger number to get any flexion. But yes, but in the short serpentine, he does want the horse to come to 90 degrees because it is such a deep step with the inside hind leg. So in order for that arc to be united, it does have to be to 90 degrees. Also, the change of flexion from, again, we're looking for turning loose, right? So we want the deep flexion to one side, and then a straight step, and then deep flexion to the other side, right? But this in the end, if you watch him do it, and you could even see it in that video, um that it's on the Buck channel right now, that reel that our friend Nicole shot, it's like you can see that the outside rein is definitely a guide there, but the inside, but watch his lower back too, right? And Julie says, and any teacher worth their salt will delight in seeing their students pick apart and question their teaching. That's how knowledge we gain becomes understanding. Moving on. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. No, I mean, I guess anyway. It's worth talking about.
What's their specialty as a teacher
Yeah, and also I think,
or in their
some
style?
perhaps my delivery is bad too. Um and I'm sorry for that. But I am out there in the thick of it, and just purely curious in the sense that why don't I just fall into line and do it like that? And I'm like, because that's not what I want. I don't want that. I don't want that for Michelle and Otto. I don't want that for you and Rooster. That's not what I want. And it shouldn't be that difficult if you can back your horse and reach a front foot from the ground. This is not rocket science. I don't know. Corey, I agree that it feels more flowy to do backing circle and smoothly move into a four-quarter yield. The newer way is harder for me to get. I got yelled at it about in Dayton because I didn't break it down. Oh. So was he wanting you to do it more or less in the new way? I don't remember. Why don't I remember that from Dayton? Oh, now I remember why I don't remember anything from Dayton.
Ah,
I was too busy being traumatized. And it doesn't feel like my heart was being bludgeoned. Emma, it doesn't feel like you're questioning and saying it's wrong. You're just wondering if there's another way to achieve something similar. I mean, we know there's, yes, Sarah, there's another way to achieve, but it's like, well, why am I so
Emma doesn't know what her problem is. Basically, she's trying to figure out what her problem is. We'll put it all on you.
and it's none of
It's
you guys'
safer that way.
problem. It's a little bit you guys' problem too, because if you do it the quote unquote 90-degree new way, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? Stop doing that. That's bad. Or at the very least, I might be like, okay, well, all you're feeling for is the inside hind leg to slide back and for the outside front foot to not fall more forward. But I'm not expecting you to pull the outside front foot and the outside hind foot and the inside hind foot backwards all at once. Like the horse can't even move all those 3 feet at one time.
Yeah.
This is what Buck would say. He would roll his eyes, he would shake his head, and he would say, "You're overthinking it. You're getting yourself all in the weeds. You're overcomplicating it." Right, Michael? I mean, any of
Well,
you guys around know that he would say that.
and to be fair, I think sometimes we do kind of get to where we're talking circles, not getting
But
not getting us too much further. But I mean, it's worth the conversation because it does definitely, um, like Julie said, like you're you're thinking about a different way, you're processing it, you're jogging thoughts loose, you go mess around with it. You go, huh, okay, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. I mean, in the course of the conversation, there's so many little things that we've said that people have commented that cause.
and I think a huge part of just can I just real quick? The thing is, it could be a big reach with the inside front foot to accommodate the tiny arc. There is no question about that. So uh, to the degree that you might want a really steep reach backwards towards the inside hind leg, then the head you could say, okay, the head is going to come more towards 90 degrees because absolutely as the horse packages up teeny tiny, that's what it would be. And you could hypothetically also be saying, well, don't fall forward with the outside front foot. But the
Mhm.
idea of the inside hind leg sliding backward or stepping backwards magically, and the inside and the outside hind leg stepping backwards magically to accommodate some sort of pulling, it's impossible. I don't know. Never mind.
Don't worry, guys, she'll get her shit together.
But I'll say this, the way that we were showing Rooster, that's the way to do it.
Well, I think
I'm going to get in
with
trouble for
with
even saying
with,
that.
with Rooster, I think, I mean, pretty well everything, even our conversation last week of tucking in the outside of the horse, using the outside aids
Hmm.
to the point of almost feeling like a counterbend. like in feeling. It's not, he's not actually counterbent, but the feeling I'm having to evoke in my presentation is, that's got to go in to the degree where it almost feels like I'm doing too much and losing all arc, but he's kind of leaving this part of the horse out there. Even if he's following the inside rein to a degree, the outside of the horse is not coming with. And I think,
Thusly, the dressage people say outside rein.
yeah, inside hand or inside hind outside rein. Yes. And I think in the four-quarter yield, the same thing. Um, you focus on the inside front reaching, but it is can partly be as a result of the bend and disconnection, but you can get the inside front reaching and then leave the outside front there. And that is also the job of the outside rein, to say, don't leave this part of the horse come through, like keep connected. Don't kind of do this. And now I'm trying to reach, but everything's still over here.
And that's a function of the horse not knowing you're going that direction,
Hmm.
right? Not knowing how to rebalance. That's why when they're thinking, Michelle, when your horse starts to think in the new direction, you're like, mm-hmm. Or you can know that it's about to happen because you can feel like if they're leaning like this, as Michael is saying, they're trying to do this, but they're really going this way. Then all of a sudden, when they maybe this hasn't even come yet. And you would certainly not want to be pulling or reefing or anything like that. You just be like, when the horse is like this, you'd be like, mm-hmm, you bet, all day long. And
Hmm.
maybe it's when it's
And
not even on the menu, and maybe
I
by
was just gonna say that when it's not on the menu, or when there isn't thought there, like, yes, ideal situation, you got them hooked on, they reaching on the ground, like it's on the menu. But if they're not,
mm-hmm.
it's not enough on the menu, or they're just not thinking that way, or you are putting it on the menu. Like for instance, Eva was riding Peppy the other day, Pepita. Um,
Cute,
and
cute.
uh yeah, I can't remember her full name. It's like, yeah, anyway, I made up this whole long name for her, and then we shortened it to Pepita. Um, like she was getting one step back, and there was a lot of. Now we're talking soft feel and backing, and it's like, well, I don't really want to take hold of her. Like she's just kind of getting the soft feel thing sorted out, and she's soft to give, but do I take hold? And it's like, well, you don't want to just drag on her like you should know this. But if she's just there confused as all get out and it's not connecting to feet, even though like we went back, we checked backing with the halter, the slobber strap, there was a few things to fix up there, polished that a bit, made sure the feet were ready, it went through the whole horse, there wasn't a delay, but she kind of practiced a little bit in inadvertently without intending to, hanging there, wanting to give the horse time to sort it out, think through it, and kind of it inadvertently said, "Well, let's just hang out here, and then give me a halfway try, and we'll call that good," hoping that it builds. But the mind never really. I mean, that's it's hard. The mind and body, they're the same thing. The mind did go back enough that the foot moved, but I don't know, you can also do things kind of mindlessly, right? You don't realize you're doing it, or you're doing it real half-heartedly without any real intention or follow through. Yes, your mind is doing it, but it might be a subconscious. She wasn't going, oh, the answer's back there, and wasn't looking for an answer there. The answer she was looking for was just mostly with her head.
Yeah, that's
I'm not sure how I got onto this, but
well. You can't do better. This is my opinion. When Ray said, I'm pretty sure it was Ray who's credited, do as little as possible, but as much as necessary. And that's always the game, right? Um, is that's a little bit what you're talking about, right? Is
Yep.
sometimes if you don't do enough, then then you're not really doing a service to the horse either. I personally prefer to err on the side of doing a little bit less and having more repeats.
But
Um,
with experience, y- that gets honed, so you can feel whether, like I was just describing with Pepita, like is more repeats, but is the mind getting
uh-huh,
there,
okay.
right? So you're much with experience, you're much more able to make the call, like this isn't going to come through, like
Mm,
there isn't
And
enough try, it isn't on the menu enough, you have to explain it. And so we're very quick to go make that call, even
and
though err on the side of let repeats do it. if we're
yeah,
not if we're not getting the thought to cross the mind,
it's true.
it's not we don't feel all, oh my gosh, I had to firm up there. I'm like, "Oh, whatever, no, this is helpful."
It's helping, yeah, for sure. And
No.
that's the value of a good coach is when they can tell you before you can feel it, this is working. This is
Mhm.
working. Or you better explain this, that, or the other thing to the horse. But there
Mm,
are so many times in my favorite scenarios where I can be like, "Ooh, this is working." So Michelle, I keep telling her to video and watch because it's obvious to me that it's working,
mhm.
right? But this is her first one that she's teaching. Yeah, maybe my visceral reaction is because there's so much that I have personally gained, found like the treasures in a 4/4 yield and in teaching the 4/4 yield. I was just helping River with this the other day and doing it on a long, long rein, so she can really start to feel the outside rein at the base of her neck. And, she's so creepy smart in some ways. But anyway, and fun thing about River, you guys, her hair is this thick. So you have first of all, she feels like riding a pillow. I ride her bareback all the time right now. It's so fun because it's just like this is crazy being on a feather pillow. But then also there's so much hair to play with in terms of the feel. It's just fun
Yeah.
to have the extra. You're like, wow, this is really cool. I'm way better than a hair rope because it's not as pokey, you know. So, but maybe it's the mechanics, Michael, of it but see, I don't even think the mechanics are right. I don't know. But I suppose you're right. It's the spirit of, like, let me get this on the menu, perhaps, right?
And I don't know, that's where I started, right, with starting someone who has very little background in this and is just kind of learning the curriculum, and their horse has no freaking clue. The horse just barely learning to back up, because that much of the time is a very sticky point for people. The horse will kind of, they coax them back, they get them to back up, but it's more pushing than you'd want, and it's
Yeah,
not, the horse doesn't really think back. So you're just getting that started on the menu, and now you're also trying to introduce, like,
you should
when you're
not be.
going, you're going to also be working on that, while you're still improving this backup that, you just had to work pretty hard to get a start on it, but you got it on the menu a little bit. So,
I would not be doing the four-quarter yield if there was no maintained gait in my druthers. If I have the druthers, you know,
mm,
as I would be like, look, you're one of the ingredients that you need to do a
mm,
four-quarter yield, which is a forward and backward move at the same time. So, having the ability to maintain gait backward. You guys that have ridden with me forever, your horse has to maintain gait. That should be off the slobber strap. That should be on the ground. That should be like, we should not have to pull every or push every step out of our horse backing up.
oh,
If you have to do that, you're fucked in the four-quarter yield. Then you will be pulling them. I mean, I'm just being real. Then you will have to pull them backwards.
mhm. I just realized I have hay coming in about 40 or 15 seconds here.
Okay, all right, you guys. Well, fun times.
Fun times.
I'm probably going to be in big trouble. Do not share this episode. I should set it unlisted and yeah, no. I mean, I'm sorry if it's not okay for me to be thinking my way through this. It's just I do have the responsibility because I am teaching people a certain way. And the more I think about it, the more I am like, no, this is the way because I want you guys to have so many things. And I would never want you to get stuck in some accidental mechanical loop that only sort of works. And then you have to undo the fact that you're doing it for the horse. Okay.
She'll get her
That's
shit together.
Yes. All right, you guys.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for being with us this week. Thanks, Susan. Nice knowing you, Emma. Yeah, I know it. Ay, yay. Okay, you guys. Well, most likely, if I survive, Michael and I will see you next Thursday morning at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
8:30 Central.
Have a good week, everybody. Wish me luck. Bye.
Bye.